Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer. In this video, I'll be mentioning books due to be released in October 2022. And these books I'm interested in reading. I like to read each of them. I wonder if you'll agree and want to read them. Check out each book as I go through. The first is Livid by Patricia Cornwell. This book makes me want to go back and start the series all over again. And I haven't read one of these books in the series for quite some time. This sounds really good. We've got the main character, Scarpetta. She's going to investigate a crime from 2 years ago. Also, there's a court case going on about the crime, and someone close to the judge is murdered. That's all from the blurb in the book. This sounds like a gripping read, and it just makes me want to read this series again. And I think it must be the first Scarpetta book in the series for quite some time, because I haven't heard from a new book in this series for a while now. But I did like this series. There are certain books in the series I didn't like as much as others, but this book sounds very gripping, and I just want to go back and read from the series from book one. The second is What Child Is This?, written by Bonnie McBird. It's book 5 in the Sherlock Holmes adventures, so they're new adventures for Sherlock and Watson. This is a really good series. I've read the first 2 books in the series. I haven't read books 3 and 4, so I must go and read them so I can read book 5, because I want to read them in order. But this book does sound really interesting. It's set at Christmas time. There's a kidnapping, and you just know it's going to be some sort of convoluted and complex kidnapping because it's a Sherlock Holmes book. This does sound very interesting, and I enjoyed the first 2 books so much. I want to read this book as well. Triple Cross, written by James Patterson. It's a new book in the Alex Cross series. It's a very long-running series, and I do enjoy this series very much. I haven't read one for quite some time though, but just reading about this book, it's about a serial killer, and I love a good serial killer novel. This sounds very gripping and just very entertaining and very engaging, and it just makes me want to go back and read Alex Cross from book 1 all the way through again, because I do like this series. I think this is one of the strongest series that James Patterson has ever written. I love the Alex Cross series, and this book just sounds amazing. The House at Fountain Park, written by Graham Masterton. This author is a great horror author. His books are usually just spot on, and I've read a few of his books, and you can read them in any order. I don't think he has a series, but this book just sounds like a classic haunted house novel, maybe a possession novel. You can't really tell from just the blurb, but I just love the sound of this book. He's an author where in his books it starts off as one thing, and it just twists and turns as the story goes on. And I read a book recently by this author, and that happened. And I love the fact that that happens, because it just draws you into different types of things, different elements in each story. And I'm hoping this is the case with this, but he is a master at that thematic kind of horror feel, and I think this will be a really great book. Demon Copperhead, written by Barbara Kingsolver. This sounds really interesting. It's a reimagining of David Copperfield, and it's set in the Appalachian Mountains. So it's about a boy born into poverty, and just about his life really. He's trying to get through his life, trying to find, his way, find love, find his own kind of reason for being, all those things in this story. It just sounds like a very, very intriguing and very interesting read, and I'm interested in how this author reimagines David Copperfield in a more modern setting, and also set in a whole different area in Appalachian Mountains. I wonder how that's going to be set and how it's set out in the book. It just really intrigues me. Darkroom Etiquette by Robin Rowe. Now, I haven't read a book by this author before, but the blurb really hooked me. So this is what's on the blurb. Trapped in a windowless room, without knowing why he's being taken or how long the man plans to keep him shut away, Sayes faces a terrifying new reality. To survive, he must forget the world he once knew and play the part his abductor has created for him. That just sounds so gripping. I just have to read this, and I just want to grab every book this author's written. This book just sounds amazing, and also the cover was really intriguing as well. So from the blurb and the cover, this book just sounds like a must-read. A Trace of Poison, written by Colleen Cambridge. This is the second book in a series. It's an historic mystery series, and I do like historic mysteries. I haven't read the first in this series yet, but based on what I've just learnt about this book, I want to read the first in the series as well. So the main character is the housekeeper for Agatha Christie, and that alone just makes me want to read this series. I do like Agatha Christie, and a mystery series where the main character is the housekeeper of Agatha Christie just sounds amazing. So I definitely am going to go find book one, and I'm definitely going to read this book as well. There you have some books due to be released in October 2022. I'm keen to read all these books. They just sound so amazing. Some are authors that I read before, some are new authors to me. That's the great thing about reading. You always find new authors that are amazing. If you like any of these books, let me know. And if you do end up reading them, let me know what you thought. You may read them before I do, but I do want to plan to read each of these books.